Hey guys, welcome to this lesson, and today we're going to be talking about the hardware when it comes to recording. Okay, so this is specifically for you guys that are trying to set up a studio whereby you are going to be doing some kind of recording, plugging the guitar into the computer and having a setup like that. So if that's not your goal in any way, shape or form, you don't need to watch this video. You know, if your goal is to sit there and to just have a space where you practice and that's it, and you're not worried about any of this stuff, then don't worry about this at all. You can kind of skip through. Although there's lots of wonderful stuff here, so you might just enjoy this for the future anyway. But for you guys that are setting up the home studio, we're going to be talking about interfaces very briefly, and we're going to be talking about speakers and just basically how to get roughly this kind of setup over the next two videos. So let's get cracking. Okay guys, so just before we get started with this particular lesson, don't forget you can head on over to the website to get access to our full write-up. And if you do want to support us as well as get access to our community, direct access to myself and all the other mentors, as well as progress tracking, a customized pathway and so much more, then you can sign up to our YJ Club and all the links are below. All right then guys, so today we're going to be talking about the interface and the speakers, okay, and kind of how to set these up. Now, first thing to say is this is only needed if you're going to have a computer in your setup. Okay, so if you're designing a home studio where you feel like the center of it is, apart from obviously the guitars and the lovely amps, is going to be your computer, then this is extremely important. This is probably the most important part. However, if you don't have a computer in your setup at all, you know, you're just guitar, amp, maybe pedals, then you don't need this necessarily, although it will be fun to watch anyway, maybe for the future. So this is the magic box. This is the audio interface, okay? There's loads of brands, there's loads of styles out there, and loads of sizes as well. We use, in the studio, we use Focusrite. We've got one here, we've got one down here, and we've got another one over there. We use them because they're just so easy, you know, and for me, always the easier, the better. And they're super simple. I remember having loads of discussions with ex-students who have this like, how do I get the guitar to the computer, you know? And this is the key. This is the magic box in between. This turns your kind of the signal coming out of the guitar into a digital signal that goes into the computer. So they're usually very, very simple. You have a USB that plugs into your computer from this box. At the front of the unit, you will find your inputs. Okay, so you get your input jack. So this is what you plug into your guitar and you plug it in there. Bob's your uncle. Or you can get your XLR cable. So this is more typically for a microphone, and you'd plug that in the same one. Most interfaces will have the option for both. You know, you can get interfaces that have 2 inputs like this, 10 inputs, 50 inputs. I don't know. Normally we need, if you're just thinking about recording guitar, honestly, you probably don't need more than 2. You don't even really need more than 1. So if you're looking at an interface that's just got 1, that's probably not a bad idea if you're just recording guitar. And also if you're just recording guitar, you don't even need it to have the XLR input because that's not going to record a guitar. This will record a guitar. So that, you know, really as a guitar player looking to get guitar tracks down or bass tracks down, that's all you need. The other thing to mention is that if you're recording acoustic guitar, you might choose to mic up that acoustic guitar. Now, we're actually going to talk about mics with one of our tutors, Alex. So we'll actually have that later on in the course for a lot of detail on that. But, you know, as safety, basically the reason I like these units is because they give you all the options. It's not an expensive thing, really. And, you know, you have the option of 2 different inputs. You can also plug in the microphone as well. So that's really cool. I'll just put these down for now. So that's the interface really, guys, and within that, you know, you've got all these fancy dials. You know, this is basically just monitor volume. Okay, so we'll talk about that when it comes to the speakers. So really that's it. Anything else we need to talk about, we're going to talk about in another unit where we physically attach it to the DAW and we actually start doing a bit of recording. So basically this audio interface is a piece of hardware that you need to connect your guitar or your microphone to the computer. Now, once you've got that there, you need some way of then listening back to that, because then this goes into the computer, your computer hears it, but you can't hear it, okay? So you need something within your setup so that you can then hear it back. And this is where you've got a couple of options. You can choose monitor speakers or speakers of some kind, or you can do headphones. You will also find that your computer's speakers will do this as well, although I would highly recommend not doing that because the quality will be very poor, you know, from these little computer speakers. So if you're serious about setting up with a setup whereby your computer is at the heart of it, you know, you're gonna do some recording, I would definitely invest, you know, after you've got the interface, I would invest in either a good set of headphones or a good set of speakers. Okay, so here in this setup, we've got speakers. Out the back of the interface, you've got something called a line output where you would attach your speakers. So one left, one right, okay, always. Or at the front, you've got a place to attach your headphones, okay? So think about it, it depends on your setup. So again, are you in a space where you don't want to create much noise when you're recording? If that's the case, a good set of headphones will absolutely be fantastic for your setup. You know, a good set of studio headphones, there's so many out there. A balanced set of headphones, you hear these terms all the time. It just basically means that there's no kind of like changing of the sound. It's the sound that's coming out without, you know, ultra bassy to make it sound really cool, boomboxy or highs or whatever. It's just a very nice, non-touched, balanced sound. Okay, that's what we talk about when we're saying like a balanced set of headphones or speakers. With the speakers, of course, that's very cool because then you've got the sound coming out into your room. But again, that's going to be, you might want to essentially crank that up. These can be quite loud, these speakers, although they can come really quite down in volume. But again, it all depends on your setup, what you have, and therefore what your needs are. So the other thing to consider, the final thing I'll talk about is the idea, the kind of feedback loop concept here, which is basically that when you are recording, obviously you're recording maybe vocals or a guitar, and it's going through your interface into the computer and out through your speakers, okay? But then when you're recording, there's kind of like if you imagine a loop happening there, and quite often with a guitar, this means that you'll get some feedback. With a vocal, if you imagine that you're recording through your computer and you're hearing, let's say, drums, coming out of the speakers, that will be coming back into your guitar pickups potentially, but much more prominently your microphone. So especially if you're recording, I find this all the time if I'm recording an acoustic guitar with a microphone. I can't do it with speakers because obviously whatever's coming out of those speakers, whether it's other guitar parts that you've recorded or like a vocal or drums or whatever it is, they will be going back through as well. So not only will you be recording your new guitar part, but also all of the other stuff that's coming back out the speakers. So in that situation, you would want headphones because of course with headphones, you only hear it through your ears here and it's not in the room, so therefore it won't come back through the microphone. So there we have it, guys. However you set this up, and these are quite bulky things, you don't need to have big old bulky monitors like that. You can get very small ones on your desk. However you choose to do it, there's so many options out there. I would say that if you're going to have the computer at the heart of your recording setup, you have to have an audio interface, and you should have speakers or headphones, ideally both. Okay guys, that's it for this lesson. If you're looking for the next lesson, please do click here. If you're looking to start the whole series, then we've got the full playlist available right here. You can go from start to finish.